think that's a voice that most all of us have, that we're not good enough, might be pretty good, but not quite good enough. Thing is, there's no mistakes really. You just keep learning.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the biggest mistakes those are the best learning. It's just like, oh, we should do this.
Best mistake.
I'll do this.
遇见有趣的灵魂，活出真实的自己。大家好，欢迎来到谈心社，让我们一起谈心、谈情、谈音乐。Welcome to Generous Talk, an intercultural conversation on music, health, and lifestyle. Enjoy.
Yay! We are officially live. Oh, hello, Scott, and hi everyone who's tuning in live as audience with us. I'm so glad to share this moment with you, Scott, because this year is my 4th year relocating back to Shanghai after spending my most important developmental years in Boston, in Berkeley, just in music all the time, and 4th year of working in China, and it's also the 4th year of my podcast.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So it's all these celebration feelings start to coming up together in October, and then I'm so happy looking back to have connect with you when I was preparing to coming back to Shanghai, and then everything lead to today. First of all, I ask every guest who come to my interview to bring a song to introduce who they are. What song would you pick?
Well, I have a few minutes to think about this. So I actually chose one of my songs, and the song is called "If This Were Heaven."
Wow.
It's on one of my albums. And I like it because I think it conveys kind of who I am. It's about, let me just read the first verse. And it goes, "If this were heaven, I'd sculpt each day in my own way, like a kid playing with clay. I'd embrace it with bare hands, mold it into something grand, if this were heaven." So, because my philosophy is basically that we can create our own experience, our own, and I think a lot of it is what we focus on.
Yeah,
we can focus on the things that we want, and not spend time pushing against the things we don't want. That's when you can create a life of your design. And I think it's possible. I think it's possible to create a heavenly kind of experience on Earth. You don't see it very often. I don't see it very often, especially as people get older. I think they get grumpier and grumpier. Because you're focusing on all the negative stuff, and you can see little kids, they're coming in fresh, and they're coming in.
Just jamming.
Let me play. Let me explore. When there's just a natural joy and wisdom. So anyway, that's why I chose the song, is I think it kind of expresses my philosophy on life. I sang on this recording. I don't sing on all of my songs. I sing on maybe some of my recorded songs, and it just kind of fits me. It's kind of laid back and kind of. So anyway, if this were heaven, that would be my song.
What heaven on earth looks like for you. If it actualized right now, everything actualized right now,
Yeah, right now. Yeah.
what it looks like, how people live, how
You
people
know,
live.
it would be having my musical produced by Disney, or so it would be travel. It would be making music with friends, um, recording another album, going on safari in Kenya, which we're doing next February.
Yeah, that's part of mine, right? Going to South Africa.
Yeah, yeah, we have that in common. We've both done safaris
Yeah,
in Africa. Um, yeah, just really enjoying every day, um, which is really made up of a whole bunch of moments,
mm-hmm.
and so it's molding each moment,
Sure.
even if it's not kind of a yucky moment, you you can kind of mold it so it's a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of laughter, a lot of real connection with people. That's why I love doing things like this and
Yeah,
meeting people like
yeah.
you. I mean, who would have guessed that we would have this conversation, 5 years ago? You
No,
know,
there's who would
I
have
mean,
guessed, right?
I'm old enough to be at least your father, if not older. Um, but I love those kind of connections with people.
Yeah.
And I love that it's global. And I love that you're in China. I'm here in the middle of the United States.
Yeah,
And we have a lot of things in common. We have a
yeah.
love of music. We have a love of expressing our own unique voice
Mm-hmm.
and all of that.
Yeah.
So having conversations like this is part of my heaven.
Yeah. When I came back, it was September 2021. I flew from Boston, San Francisco, then Shanghai, and we had like 21 days lockdown still, like quarantine before you could go out and mingle with everyone at the time. And so the first year of working there was really in the hotel room. The quarantine, like 2 weeks in hotel room and then 1 week within your own home. Do not,
Mhm.
go mingle with others until you are like all clear, safe, quote unquote safe. Um, so the first year of working in the Shanghai, working in China was really happening virtually from the hotel room I was quarantined in and sending out all the information and with enthusiasm. And I did not know who would respond because being in another country for so long, right? I feel like I was coming back and rediscovering, really rediscovering what Shanghai, what China it was at the time, and 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 was sending all those calls, like music tracks and invitation online, um, and and then oh my god, like so much emotion, I lost my train of thought.
Mm,
Yeah,
I forget how we actually met. I know it was some connection through Berkeley, but I don't
Yoshie,
remember.
our mutual friend.
Yushe?
Yoshie, she's been doing projects on music for peace, and she's now actually yes, yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, now
We went to Berkeley during the same period.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I like it was first year they were hosting music for peace in Boston, the Quincy Market. Oh my God, I can remember the Quincy Market. Like they wrote songs. They invite me. I joined the arrangement. We sing and move with people, dance, interact with people whoever walking by at that market, and yeah, sing our heart out. And that's where Yoshi and I, your friendship started to form. And then she went back to Japan for a while, and then now she's teaching at Berkeley.
Right.
And yeah, so that's how the circle.
I can't remember that.
Yes, yes, yes.
That,
Yeah. Well, I was talking about when I came back, right? Okay, my thoughts come back.
okay.
And then after the quarantine, right, I start to go like meet people in person. And I start hosting some like body percussion, like circle singing, small events, like 2 hours, so people can come and experience, learn a little bit technique and experience what it's like to just flow and move with music.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of something really new for people. But I still remembers one participant she shared with me, like, Xingyu, you are bringing heaven on earth.
Really?
Yes, it's because
She used that
that
word?
phrase. Yes, yeah, exactly that phrase. Because she also
Wow.
went to Boston. She's a world traveler. She's like, Xingyu, you are bringing something very special here. So that one is, that memories came back when you said, I want to bring heaven on earth. Yes.
Right. Cool. Oh,
Thank you for sharing that song. So, what is your relationship with music like?
well,
What does music mean to you?
what's important to me? It's very important to me. It's it really is. It is. I've said this for a long time. It's my therapy. I remember when I started writing. My dad was my first influence with music. He was a piano player and he played jazz and big band type music, um, and he was always playing music in the house, like jazz and back in the '60s it was Sergio Mendes and Brazil '66. Some good Latin music. There was Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, which is a lot of brass music. And I started playing drums in third grade, and then I played trombone starting in sixth grade, and then didn't like my music. Our band director in freshman year of high school, so I quit and picked up piano, and then I started writing music pretty much right away. And that was really, I could express myself through writing songs. And especially those teenage years with a lot of confusion and weirdness and trying to figure things out, all of that. It was really a great way for me to express myself. So it became my therapy, and it's also it really is get in touch with the joyful part of myself, and I get enjoy kind of that wise, soulful part of myself. It's almost like sometimes I will read back like my lyrics or and I'll go, did I write that? It's almost like my wise, soulful self is speaking to my everyday kind of self.
Wow. Through music.
Through music. Yeah. It's almost, I don't think of it as channeling or anything because it's just natural. But but really I'll read the lyrics and go, wow, that's good. Or that's very comforting. Or because a lot of my stuff tends to be, very life affirming and positive messages. And I didn't set out to write positive music, but I ended up co-founding an organization called Positive Music Association. It promoted music with these universal life affirming messages, kind of like a music version of Oprah or something, and I co-founded that because I was looking for ways to get that kind of music out there. Because I'm not really a performer. And it was just kind of like, what do I do with, I recorded, after my third album, it's like, what do I do with this? Where do I get this music out to? And so I ended up co-founding this Positive Music Association and promoting artists that wrote music that had this kind of positive bent to their music. So music has been it's life fulfilling, life supporting, and I don't know. It's just such a healthy thing, and
I feel like the music it's right there since you were born, you were a child. It's just there. The connection with music is just so strong.
yeah. I mean, I think it's definitely. I think my dad was definitely influenced. He was the one who had the music. He was the music instigator in my house. We're also my dad was much more left brain. He read the music and he played reading, and I'm right brain, and I don't even read music. I just, I mean, I know chords and stuff, but I can't put sheet music out in front of me and I'll just stare blankly at it. But I mean, the Beatles didn't read music. They did.
Play by ears.
Yeah. And, I started learning. My piano teacher in high school, we started with chords, and I started learning popular songs with chords. One of the first songs I remember was by the group Chicago, called "Color My World," and it's just a arpeggio of chords, da 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 da, and the whole song is basically that. And so I learned, I can play with chords, and it's like, I can play these chords. I can put
80%, at least 80% of the popular music was in your hands when you can play those chords.
Yeah, so much. I mean, all you need is like 4 chords, really. Yeah. There's an expression from get his name, an old country singer called three chords and the truth. That's all you need.
Country music. Yes.
And it's the same with rock music too. There's 3 or 4 power chords, and you can write a ton of songs. And it's amazing how they all sound different and express something new. And anyway, so music is then definitely, that's up there. I think music, nature, family, friends, those are the top things.
So is there is there a time when you had faced some like different attitude about music? Because from my experience, right, like working, living, studying so many different culture and background, like people of different backgrounds, and I've noticed, because for me, music, because of my upbringing, the music is something I can feel. It's just living inside of me, and I can feel this really close connection. And then when I grow up, right, there was went through like classical, like European classical music training, and that there was a lot of professionalism. There's like right or wrong. You have to obey the rule. You have to play exactly this way and that way. Otherwise, it's wrong, and wrong is so intense and scary and all that. And also, I growing up, I love singing because my dad, he used to be a professional singer. And in the womb, in my mom's womb, I was hearing his singing all the time, right? Because I can feel. Now we know fetus of 3-month-old could already perceive the sounds from the environment. So I feel that, and my mom had all those black records playing, like with music around the world. So I feel that give me the deep connection with music. And then growing up, kind of venturing out of my family, in the school system, in society, I can feel there's this like force try to mold me or mold my relationship with music in a certain box, and outside of box it doesn't work. It's not allowed. It's wrong. It's terrible. If you are a singer, you have to look certain way. Otherwise, you are not a singer. Otherwise, you can't sing. There's singers supposed to sing on the stage, and there's this audience supposed to just appreciate and listen and shut up.
Right. Oh.
And so I experienced that. Did you ever experience that, and how does it had an impact on you? And yeah.
Yeah. I was never drawn to performing that much. I have performed, traveled with this group that traveled around the world and put on a 2-hour international musical show, and so I was comfortable on stage. I would sing few solos here and there, but it just wasn't something I had to do. And songwriting was more of, I identify more like that. I think I've never felt like I really fit in. I think I think I look like I might fit in, but I don't.
What do you mean look like?
I don't know. I mean, you can see somebody goes, "Oh, that's a strange character. He's an interesting dude." Like I think I can fit into society's mold of what
a musician or singer,
or just a regular guy in American culture. I don't know, but I don't necessarily feel that. But I remember going down to. I was in college. I went down to Los Angeles. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I had my first demo tape. And it was a cassette tape back then.
I know these. I listened to these when I was still a little baby, and then later things started changing.
I used to make mixed tapes back then.
Wow, cool.
We record from an album and record on a cassette tape. But anyway, I went to the studio in San Jose, California. I recorded my first 3 songs and went down to Los Angeles and actually got through the doors of music publishers and got some encouraging feedback. They said, these are good, but my songs were, they said, if you're going to write for the market, which is, especially at that time, was fake girls that wanted infatuation love songs. And I wasn't interested in that. I wasn't interested in writing, or I wasn't interested in moving to Los Angeles or Nashville or New York or whatever. And I didn't want to write for somebody else.
Oh.
So I ended up saying, well, I'm just going to continue doing my own stuff. I continued traveling and doing different things, and got married and all of that. And it wasn't until I was in my 40s that I decided with a friend of mine, she said, we should record some of your songs. I had written some poems for our young daughters when they were really young, and I put those poems to music, and it's like, oh, yeah, we should, let's, and then so a good friend of mine I've known since I was 12, we formed a music publishing company, and produced the first album was a children's album, and it was really nice. And we got a nice write-up in the LA Times and got an award for it, got some different things. But it was like, oh wow. But I guess I bring that up because as a songwriter, I didn't feel like I fit in as far as like, okay, you got go to LA and write.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. And as I just continued writing my own stuff that to me had meaning to me. And again, they have these life affirming messages.
Yeah.
Life's possibilities and friendship and having dreams and pursuing them and things like that. But I've never felt like I really kind of fit in as a musician, especially, I don't read music, all of that kind of stuff. So I don't fit into a mold, I don't think. It's always challenging, but it's also, with every disadvantage, there's our advantages. I see things differently, and oh, maybe I'll write a musical. That's new.
Yeah. So tell us about the musical, the voices. That's another crazy synchronicity
Right? Yeah, yeah.
we have. Yeah.
Well, um, yeah. It was just a couple years ago that I saw this ad on Facebook for a month-long class online for how to write music for a musical by uh, Pasek and Paul, who are the team that wrote the music to Dear Evan Hansen, La La Land, and The Greatest Showman, and a bunch of other ones. And it was just one of those things that said, yes, I'm going to do that. And it's like, there was no question.
Yeah.
It's for me. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And so I took that, and they said, if you're new to musical songwriting, you might take a well-known story and musicalize it to start with. They said, "Mom, if you got an idea, if you want to do it, go for it." So I said, "I have an idea." And it really is about. It came from World Singing Days.
Oh, it came from World Singing Day.
Yeah, which I founded in 2012. Basically, the idea is that singing is for everybody, and everybody can sing.
Yes.
And so that's
what inspired you to found World Singing Day? And then we can lead to the musical.
Yeah. Well, actually, it kind of came out of the Positive Music Association that I had founded, and I remember back in like 2011 that Playing for Change, that organization that they have these global around the world kind of songs that they record artists from different parts of the world, and they put it together, and it was kind of that was new back then. This is probably a dozen years ago or so.
It was like 2010, 2011-ish.
Probably, yeah. I think, and was it "Stand by Me" was the first song that they did. They had a street musician in LA started, and then they went to Africa and different places. And anyway, but they back, I think in 2011, they started their own Playing for Change Day. And I was talking with some of our Positive Music Association members, and I said we should have a PMA day with all of our members around the world singing, performing on this day.
PMA stands for Positive Music Day.
Yeah, Positive Music Association. And I thought, well, we should maybe have a day. And then I thought, this initial conversation with a few other members, and I said, why don't we just open it up to everybody and have like a World Singing Day?
Why singing?
Why singing? Get good. I don't know. I don't really know.
Like jamming, like a band. I don't know, banding that I play.
Yeah, it could have been a World Band Day, and there is something called World Music Day, and it was initially founded in France years ago. Now NAM is in the United States, and National Association of Music Manufacturers, and they're associated with the Recording Academy and stuff. Anyway, there's a U.S. version of that, and they've kind of taken over at least in North America, as far as this World Music Day. It's Make Music Day. It's what it's called now. But that's a good question. I don't know why. Why did I come up with from Positive Music Association Day to go, let's do singing? And it's funny because I am no great singer, and I'm not, and again, yeah, I've sung on some of my albums. I've sung in public and stuff, but never, I'm not a confident singer necessarily. I'm not trained. I'm not, I think on some of my songs, I'm effective. I'm an effective singer. Like Bob Dylan is an effective singer, or Bruce Springsteen is an effective singer. They don't sound great necessarily,
They get the point. They express exactly what want to deliver. Yeah.
And there's so much feeling.
Yeah.
That's what music is about, expressing feeling.
Yes.
There are people that sing
Perfect.
technically, but it's lacking soul.
Yes.
And what you need. But it's interesting, the whole voice thing, because there's a lot of times I have felt that my voice hasn't been heard. And I'm sure the musical, I know the musical part of comes out of that there, that I'm generally an introvert. I could be a site-specific extrovert when I need to be. But generally, I process things internally and I think about them. And in a group of people, I'm generally a quiet one. But I'm picking things in. I'm thinking of
intensely, probably.
I'm not a fast reactor to things, but I'm more. But a lot of times in those situations, I feel I'm not heard because people have moved on to the next conversation by the time I'm like, well, I have something to say, and they're long gone on to the next subject. But so I'm sure that I swear, sometimes even when I'll say something, and sometimes my wife, it's all she will repeat sometimes a thing that I just said. It's like, did you not? She's no, don't get me wrong. She's a lovely person, and she's very But sometimes I just think I don't know if it's a frequency thing or what, but or I don't have a loud presence or something. So I'm sure that there's something in there about me wanting to find my voice. That's really what the musical is about. It's about finding your own true voice.
Yeah.
Not trying to imitate somebody, but and that true voice is your authentic, real you expressing yourself through your voice, which is such an intimate thing, and it really is. I talk when I mention World Singing Day to people. A lot of times I'll get a reaction like, oh, "You don't want me to."
Right? Yes. Yes.
Because they were probably told when they were young, it's like, get that, or something, or stand back and just mouth the words or something.
Right.
Well, children.
Yes, I heard. That remind me. I was leading this choir. Creative aging. I was working as a creative aging consultant for the Lifetime Arts, like in the U.S. They partnership with the government, like National Guild Association, to use arts, music, support creative aging. So I was working with them, and one of the program we were together was creating a choir specific for seniors who are healthy enough to live by themselves. They don't want to go to assisted living, but they need community, they need emotional support. Some of them are experiencing like early stage of Parkinson's or dementia, some depression because they have, important significant others, passing away. So I was hired as a music therapist to create, lead that pilot program, and also make sure we collect all the data and turn it into a long-term program, which we did successfully. It was I love that program so much. And I remember the first session, right? I was doing an assessment, a fun assessment. We move around, we do some games, so I get to learn them, and I also get them to have opportunity to really share their relationship with music, their experience, their expectation, their hope, and all their fears. And then one woman, she started to sharing her voice was shaking, like she was talking like this, like feel like, can I say it? Can I not? Am I allowed to speak out? And her voice was really shaky. She was not shaky like when I greeted her, but when we talk about the experience with music, suddenly she I feel like she became this young child, and she started share her experience. It was, 60 years ago when she was in high school that
Yeah.
the choir teacher told her, your voice,
Right. Right.
just when we perform as a group, as a class, you just move your mouth, like don't make a sound. And I could see and hear that trauma still with
Mhm.
her 60 years later.
Right.
And this is the first time ever in this space she feel like, oh, this is safe. I have the courage to speak up and to test if it's safe
Mhm.
enough. And then
Yeah.
and I made sure it was safe and encouraged, and it's a totally different experience this time. And when after she shared her story, and multiple members, they were all in their, late 50s, somewhere in their 90s. There were 15 members. Multiple people came to her like, shit, I experienced the same. Oh my God, they had
Right.
tears on
Yeah.
their eyes.
Yeah.
And that, like, wow, like the, this, I feel it's very it's really an oppressing judgment to
Yeah.
people, and it
Yeah.
mold, right, it hurt people's relationship
Yeah.
with music, with their own voice. That woman, like, later in the group, she could sing, and her voice, the quality of her voice changed. She's no longer that,
Right.
scary, like shaky, uncertain,
Right.
like tamed, like voice, and she feel free. And then I love being the facilitator, being the
Yeah.
companion of that whole
Yeah.
journey.
That's
And we can hear, like, in people's
so very.
voice, right?
Yeah.
Relationship, how they see themselves. It's like so much in the voice. It's the very,
It's so intimate. It's
yes,
so you. I mean, nobody else has a voice like
yeah,
you, and it is very vulnerable.
uh-huh.
It's, um,
Because I feel like if someone judges your voice, it's like judging who you are.
right. And given, I mean, we love to watch like The Voice and these singing competitions. There's just these beautiful singers and everything, but it just gives a really twisted view of
Yes.
the natural everyday voice, you know? And we used to sing, our ancestors used to
Yeah.
sing all the time around the fire or whatever. But then recorded music came,
Yeah.
and then people stopped singing. They started listening to that and stopped singing themselves. And then, of course, just the best people would be recorded. And so, that set the bar really high. And like these shows like The Voice, I mean, these are freaks of nature who sing really well. And we love to listen to them, and it's great. And we all should respect and honor and appreciate, wonderful voices and talent like that. But it's sometimes it's the expense of the rest of us, or society, where we get judged so much, or we judge ourselves, and it just shuts us down. That's what I like about when World Singing Day is really done, I think, correctly, is
Mhm.
you're in a group setting, and it's safe, and you don't necessarily hear individual voices. You hear everybody singing together, and it's that communal kind
Mm.
of experience. It's like, okay, I don't have to be performing here.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not being judged. I'm just enjoying singing together with these other people.
Yeah.
And people come, especially to our event here in Boulder, Colorado.
Uh-huh.
It's just a giant sing along, and we sing popular music, everything from Taylor Swift to the Beatles or whatever. We have lyric booklets, and we turn the original recordings of the songs, turn it up loud enough so people aren't self-conscious about their singing, but not too loud to drown all of us out. And it's just it's just joyful, I just would love to see more of that happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because World Singing Day certainly there's a cultural hurdle for some people. I think in some cultures where they are performing, and they're straight, and they're that's all they know is when you sing, you perform, and the idea of like just singing in a round, singing as a group for the joy, just for the fun. I see it in what you've told me about it in China,
that's
and
the
in
hurdle.
India. Yeah, and I the first time we did our big open public sing along here in Boulder in 2015. Afterwards, this woman from Italy came up to me and she goes, "This is so unique. We don't have anything like this in Italy."
Opera singing in Italy, right?
Why not? Because they take their singing really seriously. They have these great, opera singers and stuff.
That's singing. Anything else is not.
Everything else is like, And so she was fascinated that, wow, this is really pretty cool and different. And anyway, it's when people go to World Singing Day and they experience that, and they go, oh, okay, I get this. This is inviting. This is fun. It's kind of like when you see these European football matches, on these big stadiums, they're singing their the team songs.
Yeah. And we're cheering up, like we are together, we are one.
It sounds great. The whole stadium singing, Blue Moon, Manchester United, they say Blue Moon. And it sounds great. And it's this communal experience. And that's what singing is about.
Yeah. You talk about like our ancestors, right? I think 1,000 or 2,000 years ago, I remember I'm gonna quote Daniel Levantine. He's a musician. He went to Berkeley, then Stanford. He's become like also a neuroscientist. And I founded the Music Cognition Lab in McGill University. And I met him in 2015 because he was in Berkeley and doing like clinics. Me and my friends, like actually Tim Cole, who also been on this podcast, we've been doing some like music therapy literature reviewing, literature uncovered series together, and we were together like with Daniel, and he has this book called "This Is Your Brain" on music. I'm gonna quote him. He did some research. He says like it's only about 250 years ago that singing and movement start to separate, and singing on stage versus audience, like performer versus audience, these concepts start to emerge and change our relationship with music.
Right.
And based on that, and my observation, I feel it's a lot of the commercialization, right? It's taking what we naturally have, our instinct. I feel music is really our instinct, and it's really unique to human being, and it's somewhere in our social development that we start to take everything from like turn it into money, like if anything can turn into money, and then anything can't be turned into money, then it's just disposable, like not important, and that just create a gap. That's my observation. And then there's the consumer, the audience. You're only there to buy and consume the music, and there's the other, like, okay, I make a living of playing music, and just this gap is becoming wider and wider with technology today.
And we just like we have these superstars, and then the rest of us, And I just think we should shine the light more on the rest of us. Again, I respect the skill and
Yes.
talent, and to hear beautiful singers and musicians and whatever craft art you're doing. Um, but I just think in a healthy society, we all should share our voices, not just a few people, but everybody should have their voice heard and be part of it. That's a healthy society.
That's
Um,
what you are, the story you're writing about in Voices, your musical.
yeah, that we all have a voice, and we should feel free to share it.
Where is the musical now? Like, which stage are you in? If
Well, I've written the script. It's, again, I see this as a animated musical, like Disney. Sorry, who knows? Maybe I'll end up on the stage too. But I've written the script and made some changes, several different drafts. I've written all the songs. I just added a new opening song because I joined this musical writers group, and which is great for people like me in the middle of the country that don't have access to Broadway or LA necessarily, or those circle of people, and all of that. Just have some good feedback. Had some good feedback, like on the beginning. I had a lot of narration. The first few pages were a lot of narration, kind of like, Beauty and the Beast has a fair amount of narration before it starts, the first song. But so anyway, it's like, what, you could probably cut a lot of that narration out and put a opening song. So that's what I did. So I've been working on a new song, and
more and
as
more
I
sound
mentioned,
coming through, positive.
yeah, I'm working with another Berkeley grad. It's from Manila, in the Philippines. A very talented guy, David. Yeah. So it's been great working with him. And he's starting to write out my piano vocal scores too, and things like that. So once I feel confident about where it is, now the next step is probably either find an agent or somehow pitch it. So I don't know how, I'll trust the process when that is necessary. So
yeah, that's the interesting part, right? There's, I think, in society today there are two different approach. Like, there's some people would want to, like, I want to plan everything out, like one step and then next, and like think about the future, and then just stick with the plan and meet the deadline, right? And then there's another way of approaching life, work, creativity, anything. That's okay. I feel something. I feel moved by it. Let me follow it and maybe do it. Let me pursue it, and then see and open my eyes and see how things unfold, and it was like, whoa, there are two different ways I see how people living life. And of course there are some people in the middle, like they're kind of not sure, like moving in between. And I can feel like you are definitely on the second track.
Well, my path has been like this. Literally from age 18 to 30, I was literally in a new place every year.
Every year.
So as a new college, I went to 5 colleges in 5 years.
Oh wow! Wow, that's why.
My poor parents. What's wrong with him?
Like, what was the reason that it was you exploring, or?
Well, exploring. I really didn't know what I wanted to study in college. I was a decent student, and I just didn't. I didn't know. And then after college, I wasn't ready to settle down. And I feel good about this. And I trusted myself
Yes.
to go, yeah, I'm not ready to settle down. I want to go exploring, and I'll know the time when I want to settle down. And so, I moved to Santa Fe for a year, and I traveled with this group up with people for a year, and I worked for them in Europe for a year, and I lived with my now wife in Belgium for a while, and did all these different things. Just really kind of searching and yeah, so my path was like this, but I feel good that I feel good that I didn't go to LA and I just become a writer writing these songs that didn't mean anything to me. So I appreciate this. It wasn't the easy path. It wasn't the path that, I kept having that voice, that social, societal voice in my head.
I want
What are
to
you
go
doing?
back to that main road. Hey.
Yeah, like what the hell are you doing? Really? And I was like, I'm not sure, but I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. But I think again, that's how music gets me in touch with that wisdom. It's like,
Inner West.
and throughout these travels and these different things, I would sit down at the piano, and a lot of especially my earlier music was really about this journey.
Yeah.
In fact, when I was living in Santa Fe, I was writing a story called The Journey Home. And it really is about you trusting yourself to follow to create your own path in life. Yeah.
What do you think is the most important thing? Because when people feel like, oh, I'm so anxious, I need to think about future, I have to plan everything, I have to look everything to be clear before I make the move, right? So I can know exactly what's every step.
Yeah.
But sometimes that leads to a lot of anxiety because things change. The only thing doesn't change in this world is change, right? Everything just keep changing and moving, and that follow the plan and think of ahead of time strictly can really causing a lot of anxiety, and but for a lot of people it's hard to let go because that's something that they know, only thing they know how to do it, how to live life. So what do you think is if we want to go with the flow, then we don't have a plan, because plan is something people want to stick with. But if we don't have a plan, what is other thing? What is that inner voice? What is actually guiding us then? No plan, but what do we rely on? What do we listen?
I think we all have. I call it soul. If you're religious, you might call it something else. But I think we all have it. It's all within us, and it is that wisdom. That soul is guiding all of us to what is most appropriate, best for us, not for what society thinks, not with what your parents or whatever. It's trusting that, and it takes it takes a lot to learn how to trust. And I think a lot of my journey learning how to trust myself. When the rest of the world's like, "What are you doing?" You should be out making money. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, in the heart of the Silicon Valley, and a lot of my friends became lawyers or worked for Apple or did and make tons of money, and it's like, I'm just I wasn't, but I was doing what I like to do. But to me, it's learning how to trust that, and the way to, and that wisdom with all of us, you can tell when you're going the right way or not. Is how it feels. If you go this way and it feels constricting and it feels, ugh, that's your soul saying, no, go the way that lights you up.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Go the way that lights you up. Yeah.
Go the way that lights you up, and keep following that. And I mean, it'd be so boring just if you have your whole life planned out and everything that's boring.
Why that sounds so like me? Like I said that
I mean,
multiple times.
I think about a lot of the things, like if I did kind of the expected thing, I'd be, and worked in Silicon Valley somehow doing something, and probably married somebody from the Silicon Valley. But I ended up traveling all over and being this wonderful person in Belgium, and and got married to her, and I have in-laws that are from Antwerp, and new friends all over the. I mean, who would have guessed that I would have done that, or I would have traveled around the world and performed at Radio City Music Hall in front before royalty in Belgium, or all these different experiences, or founded this Positive Music Association, and then came up with this idea for a World Singing Day. That's not like planned out kind of. You can't plan that out. It's the next logical step for me. It's just like, we should get married. I think we didn't get married. Let's get married. Let's have. Do we have kids? Sure. Why not? It was that the most important things, biggest decisions in my life have been just natural. The next step. It wasn't like forcing. The forcing stuff never works. It's never worked for me. Like, I'm going to do this. It's just like you're forcing it too much. But it's just like, we should. Oh, that's a World Singing Day. That's a good idea. It's very casual, and it's just, but it's this. Now it's this kind of this big thing.
Yeah.
And it's a great idea.
Yeah. How big is how World Singing Day has grown since you started? It's a decade ago. Yeah.
Yeah. The first few years, I was still working full time at a translation company, and I didn't have a lot of time. But I did, call my musician friends around. I said, "Sing on this day." First year, maybe 100 people did something, and like second year, a couple hundred people did something, and the third year, a few hundred people, and then we had our first big public thing here in Boulder on this pedestrian mall, and like 500 people showed up. And then school started singing our theme song, and or the song of the year that we have each year. And Shankar Mahadevan Academy in India found out about this. And Shankar is one of India's most famous Bollywood composers and singers. And so there's people in India starting to hear this. And then, the Sweet Adelines, the women's barbershop international organization, this is great. We have groups all over the world, and the Barbershop Harmony Society, kind of the men's version. Now they're adding women to it. But so just these kind of things. And then we got this lovely feature on the Today Show a couple of years ago. And so it's just one step after the other, and you just following what feels good. It's like, this is a good idea. I feel that, like, this lights me up. This not so much. So it's trusting yourself, really, when the world is telling you something else. I mean, I love that quote by E.E. Cummings, is like something about, I forget how it goes, but the hardest thing to do is basically when the world is telling you night and day to do something else,
Yeah.
be, to follow your path, do who you are.
Yeah.
And it's not a easy thing necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially with social media now and
Yeah.
all of this stuff.
Yeah. The
Oh, I'm
AI is
so
just gonna keep pushing the same thing.
right,
Yeah.
right. And just regurgitate what we already know. Um,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. Um,
Well, because
but I mean, everybody's different. Everybody, yeah, maybe, I don't know, maybe you come from humble beginnings and your parents are, really, it's like, we want you to go to school and we want you to be a doctor.
yeah.
That's what you got to be, because that's security and that's success for the parents. And a lot of times that works for some, but that's not the path for everybody, and it's hard when your society, especially your parents, are telling you one thing. Fortunately, my parents, they were supportive. They didn't understand what I was doing. I didn't understand what I was doing half the time.
That's really good. Like I didn't understand, but like in the process, I understand more and more. Like that creative process. It's
Yeah.
it's really the total opposite of commercialization, because like the big business growth, scaling up, like those tech company, it's like everything has to lead to a specific outcome. When we need to do prediction, if it doesn't guarantee a certain percentage of the outcome that we want to reach, we won't do it. And it's the
Right.
total
You
opposite.
start killing the creativity and the new ideas. I mean, it's like, Disney is, they tend to play things safe. And I mean, there's already a Frozen 3 and 4 in the works. There's a Moana 2 that's coming out. They go, okay, we can make that, the suits are going, we can make so much money by repackaging this and doing this.
Yeah, then this.
I mean, I understand, because it takes a lot of money to produce especially an animated musical and stuff like that. But you're not going to come up with any, like, Ted Lasso. I mean, to me, that's just a brilliant comedy with a lot of heart, and it's not your typical kind of, thing. Some of the best things are just like these, they're different. It's not doing the same old thing.
Yeah. I remember Pixar's still have that spirit of, okay, we're gonna allow exploration. Just do, like, we don't fix on the outcome, but let's just spend times. I remember like Inside Out, right? I love that movie. And they had a great launch of Inside Out, and then were discussing whether they're gonna do Inside Out 2 and whether there was a story. I remember listening to the interview of the two producer, that they spent 2 years just to explore this idea. What story could possibly be told if we were to do it too? What kind of ideas, what kind of meaning we can bring to the audience or emotional journey. And they did like 2-year research, not knowing whether we're gonna do it or not. And it's fine with that open mind. They were totally open to, like, if we explore 2 years, but then and now feel like, oh, there's not really a story worth telling. They just they're okay. Like, we can explore other idea. With that mindset, that openness, that taking a risk, that's where creativity grow, and like, boom, like amazing ideas coming. Yeah.
And I think that's about, like, trusting yourself and just trusting, like,
So
this
hard for
feels
so many people to trusting yourself, because Because I feel that that's also meaning like you have to take all the responsibility yourself.
Yeah, and you, yeah, you might make mistakes, and you might go down the road trip and go, no, that's not quite it, and change. But that change is just part of it. And I mean, I guess I feel fortunate to have grown up in in the West, in California, where there's a lot of things I'm critical about America, but one thing that I really like is the possibility thinking. It's just like, why not? You can do this, you know. We're singing that. I mean, if it was created maybe in Estonia, it would be Estonia singing that. You know,
Right.
it's like, how big can we do two things?
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, this again, it hasn't been easy for me necessarily because it's just like I haven't just done the regular path. But a lot of times, in the long run, that's kind of that brings some good new stuff, you know. And I feel I'm excited about my musical because I feel it's touching a deep thing, certainly in me, and I think it can touch with a deep part in a lot of people as far as not just about singing. Obviously, it's about whatever that you're passionate about or something, and you've been told or you think yourself you can't do it, you're not good enough. I think that's a voice that most all of us have, that we're not good enough, you know, might be pretty good, but not quite good enough. You know, thing is, there's no mistakes really. You just keep learning. And some of the biggest mistakes are those are the best learning. It's just like, oh, we should do this.
Best mistake.
I'll do that.
What's the best mistake in human history? That turned into something miraculous.
Yeah.
With the voices, when you share with me and I was reading your work in progress, right? I had this, I can't even find the words. It's just wild moment. I literally feel the story about Mia, the main character in the story, and her journey is such a, like, it's resembling my journey in the last couple of years. Like, it's not like metaphorically, but literally every step in the process, the challenge I face and the courage I need, the support I need to then move another needle, move another step, move away another storm. Like, it's just, it's like, why, Scott, you're writing my story? What happened?
Well, I remember telling you a little detail about Mia. She has a little scar under her lip.
Yeah.
And you're going, and because she spoke up for a friend, and somebody hit her, a boy hit her, and they got the scar, and you said you had a similar,
like, same, exactly same. When I was 9 years old, I stood up for a boy bullying my friend, and I stood up, and it was before the music class. The boy had a flute in his arms, so he was, I guess he also was freaking out, like 9-year-old, like, and then he just hit on my head, so I had that scar for like throughout my teenager years. Sometimes it was still painful until I think the end of teenager year I grew out of it. It finally healed. Like 9 years old, maybe like 10 years to heal. But every time I feel the pain, I'm like, yeah, I'm standing up against the bullies. Yeah.
So I could have named Mia Xingyu.
Yeah.
And
there's another story I want to share. This is related to voice, related to singing, like my personal story. also relate to what we just talked about, right? Because voice really like contains so much of our emotions, how we see, experience ourselves, our identity, relationship with the world. I feel just so much in it. There's another like personal experience because growing up, I love singing because my dad, sang, and I want to learn singing, and I had some classes. I went to some like choir, like performance competition, and was in that process. I just want to sing. I just want to. It's just my natural. It just come
Mhm.
on to like me naturally, without forcing it, without pushing it, anything. It's just naturally. But then when I was just doing that, I receive a lot of those judgments like from society. Want to like, oh no, you should look this way, you should dress up this way, you should sing this way, your sound should be that way. It's just, you should practice this technique and that technique to be better. Just all those voices. I feel like we can write a whole
Yeah.
book about what this voice sounds like, or even characterize it into
Right.
a play, a role, a character in a movie or something. Someone
Uh-huh.
just like, well, like I'm a big monster of all consists of all those voices.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
so that in that I actually stopped singing in public because it's just accumulating.
Right.
It's just so much
Right.
pressure and fear. Those voices carry until I went to Berkeley, and I feel like I just still want to sing. And I find Donna McLaury, and she became my jazz vocal teacher.
Mhm.
And so at the beginning, we start to, she sings through soul, spirit, feeling, emotion, connection. So at the beginning, she's like, teaching me some techniques and really finding my breath support. It's so interesting. Like I had classes before I went to Berkeley in Shanghai
Mhm.
about like techniques, but it's really, I don't know, just technique. And I practice, just something wasn't clicking. I feel it was pushing and not working. The teacher's like, do again, practice more, trying harder. I'm like, if this method doesn't work, you push, like, you put more effort and practice more. It doesn't make sense because if this method is not right, it's not the right direction or
Mhm.
not effective. And then I met with Donna, and she was helping me to break, like, she taught me to laugh to find
Right.
my breath support. And
Right.
I
Right.
start to like, I remember that she like, do it every day whenever you walk on the street. Laugh and
Yeah.
feel your muscle, feel your body strong, support and grow. I was feeling so sore, like with all the
Yeah.
muscle, but I was happy I was finding those support. I was grow stronger. And then half semester in, um, my breath was getting a lot more stronger. However, there was still something like, why I couldn't sing? Like there was something there that couldn't put a name on it. And one class, I was struggling. I love those sounds. I feel the emotion. Why couldn't I express it? And she picked up on something that I still cannot put words on it. And she just looked so intensely, like into my eyes. And I feel like, oh wow, like she saw through me. Something very deep. And she was I can't remember exactly the detail, but I can remember like what she said, but the feeling of immense support from her, just saying and out. And she used her hands, she used her gesture, her voice, and everything to support me. And then finally I had a breakthrough, but at the same time I feel like my voice was different, and I had tears. Couldn't control,
Yeah.
just you
Yeah.
know. And she like, I I feel like she was saying with all her body, all her presence, like, I got you, I understand you,
Yeah.
girl, I want to hear you. you know.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
I was just crying, like sobbing. And I went to sleep. And the next day, waking up, I was saying like good morning to my roommate, and I could feel my voice was different. It's the
Really?
voice I
Yeah.
have now. And this is my voice. This is the full voice. This is who I am. And that class with Donna, I feel it's something probably psychological over the year, those accumulating voices, judgmental voice,
Mhm.
and then those psychological effects have a direct physiological effects in
Sure.
our body. It was impacting the connection of probably my brain, controlling, coordinating my muscles
Yeah.
and also direct impacting my muscles and creating a certain block. Because I felt my voice before there was a filter, trying to filter out only like
Right.
35% was out. Yeah,
Right.
it was crazy. That's when I
Yeah.
feel like okay, like I feel it's in the middle of like music education, also therapy, like what Donna has done for me, and I feel actually I feel every music educator could do if every music educator could do that. Oh my god! Like instead of no, this is wrong, but what Donna did, she still does today with her students, and
Yeah.
yeah,
That's yeah.
just deeply
And that's
influence how I just my very being in
mm.
yeah
And that's why you're a music
yeah
therapist.
music
You know.
therapy. And even when I teach students, I embody that spirit. It's this
Yeah.
mind, body,
Yeah.
soul, not just technique. Technique's
Right.
good.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
learn it. We can practice it, but
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
one layer of it.
I'm gonna probably have to go spend some time with my wife this evening. But was there anything else before we wrap up?
Yeah, it's if there's one words you want to share with the audience or encourage
I,
them to like join World Singing Day, like
yeah, certainly go to check out worldsingingday.org, and um, chances are there's probably not an event where you live. It's a big world, and eventually it'll be everywhere. But we're still growing. But I invite people to, sing with a friend or two on Saturday, October 19th. You know, sing a couple of your favorite songs wherever you are.
Mhm.
At the very least, sing in the shower, and you can always hum
yeah.
something. Um, but yeah, I invite everyone to sing, especially on that day. Yeah. Anyway, well, and I just want to thank you for the interview. It's always a pleasure talking with you. I feel
Yes.
we are kind of kindred spirits. Yeah. Oh, my chair just went. It's losing. It's losing. It's losing its pressure. Um. Anyway, yeah.
yes.
Well, thank you,
Thank
and
you.
always a pleasure talking with you. And
Same.
look forward to seeing what you do this year for World
Yeah.
Singing Day. And
Same with the world. And we grow. We are changing the culture. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
little things like
Yes.
that.
Little things. I thank you, and hope you enjoy the rest of the evening with your wife and family, and we will meet soon.
If this were heaven, I'd sculpt each day in my own way, like a kid playing with clay. I'd embrace it with bare hands, mold it into something grand. Oh, if this
Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, play more music.感谢你的收听，我们下一期不见不散。